Here we are in episode 43 of the Simple Success Podcast. This is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. When you change you change everything. We're going to talk about shiny object syndrome. Shiny object syndrome is something that I have. Oh, I'm going to have a field day with this one. I'm sure Doubting Thomas can have a field day with that one. I just said that. Would you care to know what it means first? No, I couldn't hold my dumb opinions if I knew what it meant. Well, there is that. By the way, are you aware that we can hear you? Is that some kind of sarcasm? No, it was just a distraction. Oh, sort of like the scams of next week's episode number 44. Oh, not exactly, although scams can be distractions, especially to anyone's current plan. Is that our listener anchor for the week? The show notes top, right? Yes, that bit, that sentence, that, thing. That's it. So I'll ask again. Do you want to know what it means? Yes, I'll question reality on the fly, I guess. Sounds like a plan, DT. Well, SOS, which is what some people call shiny object syndrome, is distraction. People who are business owners tend to be highly motivated. They like technology, new projects, and new developments. What's wrong with a new business idea? If it makes you go on a wild goose chase after changes without settling, or while delaying picking one and getting started, well, that's a problem. Yes, I was going to say, real progress is important. Can I relate it to sports? Do we have a choice? Do you like baseball? Huh? I said, do you like baseball? Why? Because my earliest recollection of the term shiny object syndrome is related to Ken Burns' baseball series, which ran on television in the year 1994. As with all stories, there's lots of chapters that were more like episodes, and in one of those episodes, Burns makes mention of Philadelphia Athletics pitcher Rube Wahlberg back in the 1920s. Oh yeah, just after Cleveland won a World Series. Careful, DT, they won in 1948 too. Oh right, less than 75 years ago. As I was saying, before being distracted by Doubting Thomas. Wait, you said Philadelphia. Yeah? I thought they were the Oakland A's. Oh, they are now. They moved from Philadelphia to Kansas City and then again to Oakland. You remind me of this old major leaguer and how he was easily distracted by things. No, his tough workout regimen, you idiot. Seriously, yes. How he was a great pitcher, by the way, when going to his record, his Hall of Fame qualifications. Yeah, and other teams figured out how to best him by distracting him from his primary job, which was being a lights-out pitcher, as they say, and for a really good team. And this was very effective. Yeah, and this was referred to as the distractions, referred to in daily life as shiny things. And hence, shiny object syndrome. Yes, DT, you got it. Shiny object syndrome. Thou art a boil, a plague sore, an embossed carbuncle in my corrupted blood. Down, King Lear, down, boy. Be no more distracted from your task. Yes, my liege. Oh, wait, Rube. The Rube guy. Rube Wahlberg? Yes, the pitcher. So that's the thing. By distracting him, they took away his focus. And without his focus, he had no meaningful life. Kind of like Samson. Without his hair, he didn't have the mojo to overpower them anymore. You said you have shiny object syndrome. Yes, I admit that I do. When I see, or are shown, right, or when I am shown something new, some little solution on the computer, I have a tendency to go try it out now, even though I have more important things to do. It's delayed doing the right thing in the past, and I don't allow that to happen anymore. When somebody suggests something to you, you immediately go there and try to learn more about it, which I've learned is not the thing to be focused on. What should you focus on? Well, since this is investing, you should focus on your original goals. Like Wahlberg should have just focused on getting the hitters out. What was his record, by the way? More wins than losses, but barely, like 155 to 141 or something like that. But he had the stuff to maybe be a Hall of Famer. He just let the focus thing get to him too much. Would it be too much to ask for an example? Maybe even a coaching plan? No, DT. An example would be great. Oh, you mean an example for me? I do. And I will. But first, I do hereby lawfully declare you ready for a break. Wow, that's one of the biggest opportunities ever. Hello, everyone. This is John with the Simple Success Podcast. Financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. because we know you want to show us some serious love in return for the tremendous benefits you get from us. Please head over to the support link in our written show notes. That's the words on your podcast player. There, you can choose from a $9.99 per month doing level of support, a $4.99 knowing level, or a basic intro level of just 99 cents per month. Whichever you choose, thank you so much for helping us do this for you. To leave us a voice message which just might see the light of day in a future podcast, go to those same written show notes. You'll go to a site where you can leave a video, audio, or text-only message, depending on how you feel at the moment. You can also send us an audio file attached to an email if you use more than just your phone for stuff. I won't repeat those links because weird. And anyway, show notes. It's all in there, and it's all easy. In the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller, we learn that recovering from distractions such as phone calls or urgent emails is insanely costly. Is that the Keller Williams guy? Yep, him. Even though we think we'll just get that thing real quick, we're not considering any of the associated problems. After we reply to the email, we still think about it. We think about how it affects our calendar and our objectives. We think about what the other person might think when they read it. We might even wish we could undo the thing. Bottom line, by saying yes to that email or phone call or any number of other distractions, we really commit to having our focus taken off another task. At least for some period. Right, and we may not want that. Or multitasking. We shouldn't do that either. Why not? Because it always means focusing on more than one thing at a time. Have I told you the one about Kim Peek? You have, actually, but you should still share it with our listeners. Okay, the short version is real short. Yes, the real short version is that Kim is the guy portrayed by actor Dustin Hoffman in the movie Rain Man. Oh, the guy who could recall the phone book. Yep, that's him. He could read the left page with his left eye and the right page with his right eye. On top of having an incredible memory, he was doing two things at once. At least, maybe more. But, and here's the key, he was not multitasking. And he was not using a bunch of tech tools either. Explain. He had a missing connection between his left brain and his right brain. How missing? Well, missing just in the sense that most people, almost everyone in fact, has this connection. Which is good, right? For some things, sure. But in Kim's case, they weren't. So he actually had two brains. He could do two independent things at the same time because of that. Easier comparison, please. Sure, your computer. My computer? Yep. It has a quad-core processor, or maybe more than one. So? So the quad-core means, in effect, 4 brains. Which means? Which means it can do 4 different things all at once and not be multitasking. Napoleon Hill once said that the definition of multitasking is doing a bunch of things and none of them well. And there's that Russian thing. Yes, that old saying about chasing 2 rabbits and catching neither one, which is why I much prefer focusing. Back to the recovery from distractions. Right, it is very much related. We must be realistic about how much time things can cost. Absolutely. By the way, good luck with that. Thanks, TT. Since honesty is the best policy, as we're all taught as kids, if it takes 23 minutes to recover from an email distraction, then our just get that thing real quick really means real quick plus 23 minutes. If you don't believe me, look at people's reaction in real time to someone else saying something like that. Did I say I don't believe you? No, you didn't. And also, I'm not saying that email or phone or the internet or social media are all bad. Don't misunderstand. They're no worse than all hands meetings, gossip, or smoke breaks. Oh yeah, I love all hands meetings. We just must be realistic with setting expectations, including the ones we have for ourselves. Right, so connect this to shiny object syndrome again. When somebody suggests something to you, do you immediately go there? How fast do you substitute it for something with which you're already perfectly satisfied? Sounds like marketing to me. Well, it is a bit. There's creating a desire and a want and a need, a FOMO, if you will, to fulfill a gap. A FOMO? Fear of missing out. Doing something because everyone else is doing it. And this ties into investing? How? By instead focusing on what you're doing which we'll look at right after this break. We know a lot about you already because we know ourselves. For example, we know that you know how to listen to our podcast. We also know that you probably know how to subscribe. The reason every podcast asks you this is because when you subscribe, you automatically download all future episodes of that podcast. This means better rankings for the podcast, more attention from advertisers, and more money. And this means more and better stuff for you. So your motivation is simple and easy. Subscribe today, wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Oh, and don't just try to subscribe. There is no try. There is only do. We're changing the way we look at things, and remember, that's good. Eso es bueno. Semo. Also remember, this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. Our call to action is right in the show notes. Find it and you win too.
Did you just say that you must focus to invest?
No, I didn't say that.
But do you?
It helps. It's sure a good way to get the wheels in motion.
Give me an example.
Okay, and thanks for not making fun of my imagination this time.
Oh, you're not going there again, are you?
Yes, I am. That's where a lot of examples live.
Oh, how silly. They all have quotable facts and metrics, don't they?
If they need them, then yes. But if they are just there to help make a point, then made-up things or imaginary things are just fine. An imaginary idea can also be a brilliant idea.
Okay, your imaginary thingy then, please.
Yes, my example. In this story, in my head, you are an expert in crypto.
How so?
You eat Dogecoins for breakfast.
I do wish thou were a dog, that I might love thee something.
Timon of Athens, right?
I quote what I quote, dude.
And you distract a lot, too.
Continuing without your help,
you've been fully engaged with a particular cryptocurrency website. You invest there. You read their blog, maybe more.
And then someone suggests you check out another site.
Yes, a shiny object. But you're helpless. You go there, and even worse.
Worse?
You compare to what you're doing now.
Oh, so comparing is bad now?
No, not if you don't overanalyze and do not. And end up doing nothing. Or waste time doing nothing until you know everything. You can jump in with the rest of this knowledge in place and get some OJT. Ugh, acronyms. On-the-job training, we called it as kids. Learning by doing.
What's the result?
I am invested in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Not overweighted, but invested.
So that huge price peak in 2017 is all yours, right?
A perfect example. No.
Huh?
It only stayed there a few days. It's lower today. But it's also a lot more stable. It's focused, and it will keep growing. We'll talk about that in a future show. For now, it's much better to stay focused on being in the habit.
And remember to do better the next time.
And what do you do in order to remember?
You practice.
Right, which leads to,
remember, all you need to do is practice, after which you'll get good.
Gracias por escuchar. A la prochaine. In this Simple Success podcast, as well as in our webinars and masterclasses, we very much want to hear your story. Well, to be real, in future episodes of the podcast, webinars, and masterclasses. And this means you. Your participation is critical to our mutual simple success. It's important to know how you think what you've thought, what you've tried, and what you've been unsure of trying, as we told you at the beginning. And as you also find in the show notes, we have ways you can contact us. It involves a special link where you can leave us a voice message, which just might see the light of day in a future podcast. We may have an email address for you as well in the future, and we'll let you know if that happens. Together, we're going to make it great. We're going to do what even we didn't think possible. This podcast and our other podcast are productions of Little Red Hen Industries. The supporting cast who helps me bake the bread includes Techno King John C. Brandy, fact checker Abraham Lincoln, French consultant Virginia Mitchell, media expert Favor Abasi Ike, psychologist Sigmund Freud, rabbit hole advisor Dr. Marg Parrott, sound designer Guglielmo Marconi, Spanish consultant Cameron J.K. Brandy, videographer Alfred Hitchcock, audio props Les Paul, and inspiration goes to Napoleon Hill, Earl Nightingale, and Bob Proctor. We also have a website, and you can subscribe to both podcasts. You can even send us a video, audio, or text message, but of course, you'll have to head to the show notes, either on your phone or on the web, to actually get links and stuff. I mean, I could read the URLs where you could subscribe, support, or leave one of those video or audio messages, but you really don't want me to do that. And those explicit and clickable links are in the show notes. Finally, you can find us on Podmatch, where we consider guests, as well as consider guesting on other people's pods. And really, finally, the music for our pods comes from Cute by Ben Sound and from Piano Background by Nick Simon Adams, both on freesound.org.